this whole talk. Remember, there are a couple of other teams that are involved that could be interested in Jadeveon Clowney. We'll see if they end up making a move for Jadeveon in process. But Miami being in the mix, it tells me that the price for poker went way down now. Okay? So that's where here's where I would look. I'm not for this Jadeveon Clowney trade if you're giving up first rounders and you're giving up big fat salaries and long-term contracts. I think if you're going to rent him for a year or two and you're not giving up much, if you're giving up a middle, late round pick along with a Kenny Stills or something like that, I'm good. That Kenny Stills is not the future on this team. Okay, when you're going to be good on this team 3-4 years from now, well, you're not going to need Kenny Stills at that point. So now here's the thing. Somebody told me that they're looking for a third team to accommodate this whole trade with Miami and Houston in this move. And so I don't know if that's the case. Also, Houston's looking for a premier tackle or a premier wide receiver. Miami has one of those two. They have the premier tackle. So for those of you that think that they're going to be parting ways with the tackle, you can forget about that. Okay? Not going to happen. I see we're on Twitter now. YouTube also? Are we on YouTube? I can see us on Twitter. Are we on YouTube? Huh? Oh, okay. You want me to look? I'm on the air, bro. You want me to balance everything else out? We'll try to do that. We'll try to figure it out. But anyway, so we are on YouTube and on Twitter apparently. So that's the good thing. So this whole look, I don't mind making the move for Jadeveon Clowney. I don't, as long as you're not giving up much. And so far, that's what Chris Greer, he is looking for low-hanging fruit. Josh Rosen, low-hanging fruit. Okay? If they, clearly they wanted to part ways with Jadeveon Clowney and they wanted to get a high draft pick. Nobody was willing to give up the high draft pick and the money they got to give up to Jadeveon Clowney, and they got to have the cap space. Now, I want to explain this to you. This is also a very smart thing that Miami has done. By kind of dragging this thing out, guess what's happened? The offseason has completed. Most everybody has used up their cap space for 2019. Miami, along with a couple of other teams, are the few teams that can absorb his $16 million salary because it's a hard cap hit. Because remember, it's a tax.
That you would have to absorb the 1 year? Is that it?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, okay. And then you can tag them again or work out a long term. Now the question is, you know, if you're not going to trade much, then rent them for a year and then you let them go. That's what I would do.
Yeah, but do we want to even put that money there, considering what we're going to be?
No, the thing is, you're not doing anything with that money anyway. So
it's just sitting there dead.
It's just sitting there. And you're giving your team a better chance to compete. And listen, you're acquiring somebody without having to give up practically much or anything at all.
It gives a boost to the locker room, gives a boost to the fan base.
Yeah.
You know, you're making a little effort.
Right.
And if you got the money sitting there, it behooves you to not do it. Let me ask you straight.
Now some people will say, well, wait a minute. A middle pick, a third, fourth rounder, and Kenny Stills.
Straight up. No more than fourth.
Yeah.
And Stills.
Yeah. That's it. I'm not giving up much for the guy. Now, if you give up a second, then that tells me that they're looking to extend him a little bit and keep him. Now, the question is, how much are you risking that knee? Because I don't know how good that knee is down the line. Remember, there's a guy that he doesn't get double-digit sacks.
There's another thing to think about, too. He's got J.J. Watts on the other side, man. We don't have somebody, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're like, you got to double team this, you get singled up. That guy's going to be getting doubled and tripled every play, bro.
Yes. You're right. You're right about that. And for those of you, we are on YouTube. You can go to the Big O Show on YouTube. You can go to our YouTube channel, subscribe, watch, all that good stuff. We're on there, so you can check it out. And again, I can't thank you enough for the support that you guys are showing us on video, on audio, with the download. Absolutely phenomenal. So I thank you very, very much. And obviously our sponsors who have been with us for many years are also coming through in a big time way. And support us and support our sponsors, because that's how we keep this program going, and this is how we can keep it going. And you can have the kind of show and the kind of sports show that you want with hosts that actually will give you an honest opinion and not have to worry about the politics and not working on the flagship station and all that stuff. And we're not going to play politics. I've never played politics. We're not going to start now. So I definitely thank you for the support on behalf of Bill and Carlos Picari and myself. We really thank you, because we're working our asses off to try to make this thing happen. And some delicious burgers. In fact, Bill just had a delicious burger. I had a hot dog. You can get a donut too, which the donuts are just absolutely to die for. I'm telling you, quality from beginning to end. You're going to love it. So good stuff there. So come on out to Dandy Donuts in Hollywood, right off of I-95 and Hollywood Boulevard. So come on out and check us out. Say hi. We'll be out here for a little while. And we've got a bunch of plans to do some other stuff too here on the show. And we're doing another show too that we're adding the sound check. It's going to be called Big O's Sound Check. And that is going to be absolutely awesome. The sound. So make sure you stay tuned for that, because we're going to have some fun with the sound check.
Leading you up to the concert, man.
Yeah,
that gets you in the mood. Gets the engine rubbing, man.
Yep. So I'm sorry. We haven't. You're getting ahead of yourself. We haven't done that.
To be determined, sir.
No, first show is in studio. In studio. Then we'll tell you about when we're hitting the road with the sound check, which we will be hitting the road soon.
Well, you want to get that tint, I believe. The tint's in the process, correct?
Yes.
So we want to have that apparatus.
Tent and website are in the process. We will have them very, very soon.
Friends at 300Bs taking care of it for us.
Yep, 300Bs.com. They are phenomenal, and they are another one of the great people that have partnered up with us here on the program. So when it comes to this whole thing, don't get look, first of all, for those of you that are getting excited about Laramie Tunsil, he's not going to get traded. Laramie Tunsil's not going anywhere. I just don't see that happening. Okay? There's a reason why they signed Bobby McCain. There's a reason why they signed Jadeveon Howard. There's a reason why they signed Jakeem Grant. They're signing their own that they draft and develop, and players that actually develop in like really good players, like the guys that I just talked about, and especially Tunsil's the best of the lot. Him and X, obviously. Those guys aren't going to go anywhere. They're going to keep those guys long term. And I guarantee you this. I guarantee you the Tunsil talks have already been going on. I guarantee you that they will be signed by season, okay? By the end of this regular season, I think Tunsil ends up with a contract.
Let me ask you, because of the fact that we have signed all these other guys,
right?
What do you think's the reason that we haven't already jumped in with him?
That's a complicated deal.
That is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's a complicated deal.
Okay, and that's just the bottom line.
Right, that's all it is.
Okay.
So, and maybe also they're weighing this Clowney thing to see what they can squeeze under the cap, and if it becomes a little bit, which it won't, because in the first year they can kind of play with the numbers, and first year, Jadeveon Clowney thing. But again, do not panic. I get it. I understand. You've been wired to think that the Dolphins are going to do a bunch of stupid moves because that's what they've done for the last 20 years. But if you look overall, the moves have been pretty smart and pretty well thought of, right? The moves that you've seen lately, okay? Because I really like what the Dolphins are doing. I love the direction that they're going in. I just feel like they're going to stay in this course. With Clowney, they're not going to veer off of it. And the only reason they're going for Clowney, it's because he's a young free agent. He's a guy coming off his first contract. So you're thinking maybe he can last for a second contract. But because of the knee injury, they held off on the first go-around, and now clearly the price has gone down. So the question is, where is that price? Okay? Because apparently he's also interested, in going to like Seattle or something like that.
The longer he's out there on the market, the more it devalues, bottom line.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Unless somebody gets injured and desperation setting in, and then somebody wants to trade for Clowney because they need a defensive end because, okay, they just lost their guy, Boza, for the year.
Funny, same team. Lamar Miller going down. They're desperate for a running back right now.
No, they're not. They traded for Duke Johnson.
No, I'm talking, but you need another one.
No, they already have another one. But what I'm saying is, they have their other guy that they got, but Duke. I think they drafted a kid like that. Remember, they cut Dante Foreman, who. No, Foreman was cut from Denver. They signed him. They signed Foreman from Denver after Foreman was cut for laziness. So they got backs.
Yeah, but isn't the rumor out there that they are looking for a running back? Don't they want another one to match up with Duke?
Well, Duke, yeah, they probably would. You know why? Because Duke Johnson is more of a pass catcher, not a running back. So it's either, I think it's I got to look it up now. I'm going to look it up now because the Foreman kid was released from Denver and then picked up by Houston. So they do have a back now. He is a lazy guy. So I don't know if he's the guy that is going to be able to stick around. Here it is. Duke Johnson. And no, they're the ones that cut Foreman. Right. Denver's the one that picked him up. They got Buddy Howe. They got Josh Ferguson. They got nothing. Tywan Jones is another guy that they got who's been floating around since he got drafted way too high by, I forgot who it was, maybe the Raiders years ago. So yeah, they don't have any backs. They only have that's it, in Duke Johnson.
That's why there's that speculation of them picking up another one.
Yeah, Buddy Howe is not a guy. Josh Ferguson is not a guy. Tywan Jones is not a guy. They've got Demaria Crockett and Karan Higdon. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the 7th and 8th running backs in camp.
Wow. So there you go. So they clearly need a back. So I don't know what they're going to do there.
Look at their back end four.
Now Miami could trade them Kenyon Drake.
You know what? I was just thinking that
Miami can trade Kenyon Drake and Kenny Stills, and so they don't get the frontline receiver, but they get a number 2 receiver because that's probably what Kenny Stills is a number 2, and then you get Kenyon Drake to be your number 1 back, and you have Duke Johnson as your pass catching back, and you trade maybe a 3rd or a 4th rounder along with those guys. You've unloaded one salary, which actually helps you in the cap, and Kenyon Drake is still on his rookie deal, on a 4th round deal, so he's really not a lot of money. So, looking it up with Houston, they don't really have backs. So that would be the move, is trading Kenyon Drake and Kenny Stills to them for Jadeveon Clowney. Along, you trade also maybe a 3rd or 4th rounder or something like that.
Out of the 4, 3 undrafted college kids and a 7th rounder.
I know. I was just looking at that. It's just terrible. It's terrible. They've got no backs. Because Duke is really not a guy that has proven that he can be an every down back. He's a hell of a pass catcher. but not an every down back.
Like you said, a nice change of pace.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you really don't want him to be your first and second down guy going between the tackles.
Yeah, now looking at it there, that's probably the right move. Is trading away Kenyon Drake. And remember, if Mark Walton has picked up his game, all of a sudden now you're moving everybody else up, and you're all right now because the other kid, the white wonder, he's actually done a job. So you can keep him along with Mark Walton, and then you have Kalen Ballage as your number one. Contract because he's had his share of injuries, and so he's going into his final year. So this would be the time to move Kenyon Drake along with Kenny Stills, and then you're able to unload the salary. What are you showing me? Chandler Cox or something? We're
trying to get the
Patrick
kid
Laird.
other than the white guy.
Yeah, the white guy, Patrick Laird. Yes, it's just you got to admit it's just. It's just amazing when you're able to see one. It's rare.
There's a kid that plays behind Cam Newton, and
he's pretty good.
He would like to say something otherwise, but
he's probably a white miracle, not a wonder. It's just hard. It's hard to find him. You know what I'm saying? So when you have him, but the Patrick Laird kid, every time he touches the ball, now I know it's in preseason. I know he's in scrub time of the preseason, which preseason is kind of scrubby as it is. But man, the Patrick Laird kid always does. I love the kid.
That's all you're asking for guys trying to make the roster, man. When you get on the field, do something to impress, to shine, to make the coaches put it in their head. Hey, man, this kid's doing stuff.
I like what I've seen from Patrick Laird. Now, I don't know if he can play at the next level. We'll see. But so far, he's done a really nice job. So don't freak out. Don't freak out at all about the Laramie Tunsil thing, because it's not going to happen. Okay? And if this Jadeveon Clowney thing happens, what they're going to give away, it's not going to break the bank, and it's not going to be a Tannum-like move. Okay? So you're going to look back and you're going to go, well, they're not really giving up that much. All right, I'm good with this. All right, we got a pass rusher. That's what you're going to say. And heck, if you get Jadeveon Clowney, it might even help out with Charles Harris. Not that Charles Harris was good enough to demand a double team, which is kind of sad. Think about that. Charles Harris is the only defensive end on the roster that somebody may look at and say, well, we got to, look at what he's doing because he's a former first-round pick. That kind of stuff. Nate Orchard's the other guy and Ledbetter and all that, but really it's Charles Harris. Now, if you get Jadeveon Clowney, now you will really at least have somebody that they have to scheme for, and Charles Handel, even though it looks like he's going to be singled up anyway, because until he proves that he can be a terror, nobody's going to double him. You know what I mean? But if you have any chance of him being successful, it's going to be better with Clowney on the field.
What you were just saying, I was thinking, when you ain't got somebody that dictates double teams or stuff like that, they're able to play straight up and do whatever kind of scheme they want and whip you, beat you, shifts, this back rotation with the tackle coming from the opposite side line, tight ends. Dude, they manipulate you. They can destroy you. They do whatever they want. Run roughshod over you the whole game. You need a badass that people say, hey, we gotta take care of that guy. That guy. Because then your guys like a chance.
Now, and I know that it's one of those things that's kind of bittersweet, but I know some of you may be thinking about draft position and all that stuff because that happens also. In this case, any one player outside of you adding, an Aaron Rodgers, a Tom Brady, a Russell Wilson type, it's really not going to change much in the win column. So don't freak out about that, okay? Just because I don't think Clowney, you'd be lucky if they win one game this season that Clowney gets you to 2. If they were going to win 2, you'd be really fortunate that you get to 3 because of Clowney. So that's the other thing also about this move. I don't think in the big picture it's going to move the needle that much in the win column. Will you be a slightly better team? Yes. Will you be slightly more entertaining to watch on defense? Yes. Because you got Jadeveon Clowney rushing, you got Xavier Howard, covering, which is, really, really cool. So at least you've got something like that going for you. So I like that part.
We're not going to play ourselves out of our great draft position.
No, not at all. They just don't have the depth, man. They just don't. They don't have the depth in any part of their team. Wondering what they're thinking, if they're seeing something in another one of their young guys that they say, you know what, it's worth, even though he's probably a little behind Akeem Spence right now, we think by the end of the year he'll be where Akeem Spence is or better because we can build on him for the future, whereas Akeem Spence, who's 7 years in, not sure.
I think it's more about that than anything else. You know the lay of the land, you know what he is. We might as well plug in a younger guy and give him more time. We know what we got with Spence.
Well, they must have seen something from one of those young guys that they said, okay, we got to keep this guy. We can't lose him. We can't even put him on the practice squad that we're afraid of losing him, okay? Because you get 10 spots in the practice squad now. You get to stash a lot of guys. Now, anybody can take them away from you by giving them a spot on their regular roster, and you're done, okay? But something must be up with one of their young guys that they let go of Akeem Spence. And let me tell you, if that's the case, I will also add a caveat to all of this. You drafted Wilkins, who I think is going to be a heck of a player when it's all said and done. I love what I've seen from Godchow in the first 2 years, and he's growing, and I think he'll be even better this year. I like what I've seen from Vincent Taylor, and these are 5th and 6th round picks, okay? So if you found another young guy out of that group that you like, that's a lot of youth at that position. That's a lot of future at that position. That's a lot of flexibility at that position. About this, if you have a player that you found that's young, okay, I'm thinking chess now, a couple of spots ahead here, which most writers and reporters aren't thinking this. If you have a young guy right now on the roster that's a street free agent rookie that you like at defensive tackle, and you keep him and you develop him and you have the right foresight that next year he did develop into a player for you, listen to me now, allowed to let Vincent Taylor go and keep him a year from now, because Vincent Taylor will bring you back a compensatory pick. And the young guy who might be a street free agent will not bring you back a compensatory pick. So that might be the exchange and the chess game that you're thinking, okay, so your foresight is he's going to be the equal of Akeem Spence in the next couple of months or a year, and we can build on it. He's going to be the equivalent or better than Vincent Taylor a year from now, so when we have to part ways with Vincent Taylor, we can let him go and we can get a compensatory pick for him. Or if Vincent Taylor gets better than Godchow, you let Godchow go. Whatever it is. I have a hard time seeing that because I like what I see from Godchow, but I'm just saying, whatever they're planning on that fourth tackle, or they think a veteran is going to be released somewhere that's going to be better. I don't know. Not sure.
If there's something that may bring you back value, you don't just give it away.
Right.
You hold to anything that may bring you chips, because like we've talked about, dude, we got a lot of holes. We need as many things to plug in as we can. Draft picks, all of that. We need it. All of them. Dude, where are we good? Where are we good on that team? Corner and a couple and a safety.
Yes.
And that's about it, right? That
yes.
You would say we're set.
Yes.
Look at that. The whole rest of the team.
Yep. So all this whole trade stuff is going on with Jadeveon Clowney, and whether it ends up happening or not, I'm not sure. We'll see. I don't think it'll happen, because I think Houston will try to get better than what Miami is offering, and that's not a bad thing, because Miami, I think, is kind of sticking to their guns, and I think that's why Miami is back in the picture. In the first go-around, they were like, yeah, we're interested, but we're offering this. It's kind of the opposite of what happened with Jadeveon Clowney. I mean, with Laramie Tunsil. They weren't shopping Laramie Tunsil, but if people call and they inquire, you want to take the call anyway and just say, yeah, what are you offering? We're not thinking of trading him, but what are you offering? And then you just want to know if there's something stupid that's being offered that it's so ridiculous down and you have to make the trade.
Well, aren't we kind of involved in this by default because we have money? We're one of the few teams that does have money, bottom line.
Well, it's not just money, it's they also lack talent. Because any position that becomes available, you can pretty much say Miami needs it. Because they're not locked in on any position that you can say, okay, they're loaded at this spot. They're not loaded any freaking where. They can add a position anywhere on the team. So that's why it's easy for a lazy writer. If a safety becomes available, Miami will be on the list because they need one. If a corner becomes available, Miami will be on the list because they need one. A defensive end or a quarterback or a running back or whatever becomes available. A head coach becomes available, Miami will be on the list.
In your extent,
an owner becomes available, Miami will be on the list.
In the extent of looking at this, have they ever got to where the story came from, the source
of what?
The Clowney supposed story, because it's never been, hey, this is where it came from. It's never been.
That's not going to be. That's not ever going to be. Unveiled or anything along those lines. You're not going to be able to find out about.
So you think this was more of a hypothetical thing that a writer created?
No. I think there's something to it. I think they're clearly shopping him because that's why he hasn't signed it. See, there's also more to all of this too. Okay, let's also talk a little deeper on the Clowney side. Clowney knows that this next contract is probably his last contract. Okay, remember, he came into the league with a bad knee, as it is. Okay, so he blows out his knee. Okay, in that first year he misses time, and all his first 2 years weren't really as productive as he would like because of the knee injury and because he was rehabbing from the knee injury. And so you're talking about a guy that is already not what he was set to be. He was going to be that 14, 15, 17 sack guy per year. He can't get past 9. And by the way, 9 is a good year, don't get me wrong. That's a really good year for a pass rusher. Not a great year, not an all-pro year or anything like that, but it's a good year for a pass rusher. So Clowney, if he signs that tender, he now has to play on that tender. And if he blows his knee again on that tender, he will never see that big signing bonus. He'll never see that. So he doesn't sign that contract because he wants to sign a long-term deal. And maybe Miami is telling him, hey, yeah, we'll bring you over. We want you, man. We'll talk about a deal a year from now. Problem is, because he hasn't signed his long-term deal, he can't make a long-term contract now. So now he's put himself in a rock and a hard place. Whoever he signs with, he has to play on that tender, and he has to risk knee injury. So here's what I have for you, Dolphin fan, okay? And for you Texans fans that are listening. Are you going to get the all-out Jadeveon Clowney this year because he has to play on that tender? He may not. He may be really careful this year, which is dangerous in football because that will set you up for an injury, okay? But again, you got to look at what's going on with him. He knows it. He's not stupid. He fired his agent, Bus Cook, a veteran in this business. Bus Cook's been an agent for 40 years probably in the NFL. So he knows that he has now put himself in a rock and a hard place because, again, Houston knows what he is. Houston's been around him and that knee. They know how they've reacted from all of this. So that's why Houston has not signed him to a long-term contract. Think about this. That's their player. They've coached him every day. They've rehabbed him every day. They've watched him play on the field and on film every single day. And they're not willing to give him a long-term contract. And now they want to move him, but the problem is everybody else also doesn't want to give up a high price because, again, you're in a salary. So now you're asking somebody, give me a pick or picks and give me money. Because you're not giving the team money, but as a team, you're like, okay, I got to give them a pick or picks, and I got to give him guaranteed money. What the hell is that?
Yeah, when you start giving away your picks, those are those rookie contracts that ends up giving you more money to go out and get free agents. You get slammed into a spot that you cannot spend.
7-8 years ago, when the rookie deals were ridiculous, maybe you trade those picks because you're overpaying for those first rounders as it is. So you're like, you know what? I'll go take a chance on this veteran who's proven, then draft this rookie at number 4, and I got to give him a $30 million signing bonus and $10 million a year, and he hasn't done squat in the NFL. Now the picks are worth more. They're all slotted, they're all affordable, and they're all controlled for the first 4 to 5 years, depending on what. Because if you're a first round pick, you get a 5-year contract. Second round and on, you get a 4-year contract, but you get them cheap. So now those picks are worth a lot more. So that's why I'm telling you that there's a lot of layers that go into what's going on with Jadeveon Clowney. And it's not that simple. It's just you make a move and there's no risk. The risk. Let's also spin it around. You're the team that trades for Clowney. You're Seattle. You're Miami. You're whatever team trades for Clowney. You're the Washington Redskins. I don't care whoever trades for Clowney. Okay? Do you give him a long-term contract? Or is it the smartest thing to say, well, you're on the tender. We can't give you a long-term contract. We can only wink, wink, and create a deal for you. But at the end of the year, then you got to decide, does he suffer injuries? Did he play conservative? Did he play all out? Is he worth that money? So you can't make a wink, wink commitment to Jadeveon Clowney and his agent, which at the moment he doesn't have one, and then renege on that, agreement at the end of the year. So if you're a team, you're also taking a major risk because you're going to give up assets, and then you're basically taking a chance and waiting a year to see if you're a player. So there's a good chance that the people that are involved in the Clowney trade right now, including Miami, they're looking at it as a rental player. Miami is looking at it right now. We've got 12 picks. We've got multiple picks all over the place. We can give up a middle round pick and Kenny Stills, who's a distraction for us, a luxury that we don't need, and a pick for a guy that we do need opposite of Charles Harris. And maybe Charles Harris can, the guy can actually play and plays hard. And so maybe Charles can pick something up from him, or at the same time, Charles can try to complement him since he will be the anchor of the defensive line. He will also help out Wilkins too, because Wilkins needs some help at that position at defensive tackle. So there's a lot of layers here to this Clowney deal. The team making the trade, the player looking to make that trade, okay? And then the team trying to get rid of the player. And that's the one, to me, is the biggest indictment of all. You drafted him number 1 overall. He blew out his knee. He's actually been productive the last 2 years with about 19 sacks the last 2 years. Yet you're not willing to sign him to a long-term contract. You're only willing to tag him. He's not willing to sign that long-term contract, and you're now having trouble to trade him. And in your first go-around, everybody turned you down. Now the price has gone down, and negotiations are going on.
Let me ask you a couple things. Wouldn't you think that the team that's trying to get Clowney is more of a right outside?
But you have
this dangling carrot 1 year.
Something that is not really that much of value to you. To them, adding Kenny Stills helps their offense. To them, adding Kenyon Drake helps their offense. To them, adding a 3rd or 4th round pick helps their future. For Miami, losing Kenyon Drake, Kenny Stills, and a 3rd or a 4th is no real loss in the end, but gaining Jadeveon Clowney for a year clearly is an upgrade for them at all levels. Because you're really not going to win any more or any less with those guys.
Well, let's be honest, the middle of the road player for us would be an upgrade.
I want to show them those donuts. Can we show them those donuts? Can we put them, come here, bring them over here. Bring them on this side, come over here. You guys got to come out to Dandy Donuts, okay? You got to look at this stuff. This is amazing.
I mean, look at the size of the box, too. Store the big donuts, yes.
Real. By the way, I'm working out at the same. Look at that, folks. Look at that. Oh, heaven in Hollywood. 102 North 28th Avenue, right by the Miami Subs. We'll be out here for a while. Come on by to Dandy Donuts. So good.
It's disgusting. I don't care where you buy a donut. You got to take 2 donuts to equal one of those.
Oh, yeah.
It's like not even fair.
And it doesn't matter what donut you eat. It's not going to match a Dandy Donut, bro.
No, man.
It's not going to match a Dandy Donut.
The last time they came to see us, and I go home, and there was like 15 or 16 of them with people coming by. They were gone in a day and a half.
Of course.
Bye-bye.
Of course. And let me tell you something. That box I just held, those other donut companies that are around, those boxes would fall apart if you put those donuts in it. Now, I was just thinking about that because I grabbed the donut box and I opened it up and I felt how heavy it is. And let me tell you something. Yeah, you'll be dunking your donuts on the floor if you held those in that kind of box.
When you got real donuts, you need a real box.
Yeah, you need a real box for real donuts. Those are real donuts, okay? Not air and fluff. Anyway, we do want to remind you, you can text the show at any time, even when you're listening to the podcast. I'm checking the texts all day, all night. As you know, those of you that have been texting, 786-322-1105. Save it on that cell phone. That way it's an easy way you can remember and just pull it up on the Big O Show text. 786-322-1105. We're out here at Dandy Donuts in Hollywood. We'll be out here, of course, for, I would say, about a little over another hour. We'll be out here talking some sports, having some fun. We got a lot of, by the way, we got some tomorrow. B-52s, Berlin, OMD at the Broward Center. I'm going to go see that. You're not going to that? No? No, Rose? You don't like any of them? You're not a... But you're a fan? Like beef? Huh? Oh, you're working that day. Okay. Okay. All right. You're a smart man. Okay. You're working. I'll be recording the game. I actually want... You know what's weird? I'm actually looking forward to tomorrow's game. And tomorrow's game...
What did you just say? The 4th preseason game? You're looking forward to it?
Yeah.
That's
normally... Let me tell you something. Normally, I watch it anyway, but I kind of watch it half-ass. You know, maybe I fall asleep 3 or 4 times during it. But if Rosen is playing the first half, I'm in, dude. I'm in. I want to watch my guy. I want to see if he continues to play well. I want to see if my vibe continues where I feel good about the kid. I want to see if it continues to pace, it trend in the right direction. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, but in all honesty, you really don't want him to do well to be the starter against the Ravens like we've talked about. Like,
Bill, Bill, I'm not going to root against anybody wearing a Dolphin uniform. I didn't even root against Tannehill. Okay, I knew Tannehill was Tannehill. I knew he would, overthrow somebody, underthrow somebody. I knew he would take 800 sacks when he's not supposed to. I get it, but I was still rooting for the kid to win, to be successful. I gotta want Rosen tomorrow to go 18 for 18 and 4 touchdowns, bro.
Dude, if he does that, we have to start him then. No.
Not whatever, but I gotta root for. I have been in this abyss since the team retired. I'm dying for a quarterback to say, I'm the guy. This is my team. You're following me. I'm leading you. And that's what I want Josh Rosen to do. So this is probably the most inspired I've ever been for a fourth preseason game, maybe ever. Maybe ever. Because there's actually a little meaning in it in the first half, just because the possible starting quarterback is playing, dude.
I was just going to say, normally on the field, want your starter on the field.
Right.
If that guy gets hurt, you're an idiot.
And let me tell you something. There's a part of, I'm sure there are Dolphin fans right now saying, why are they playing this kid in the fourth preseason game?
Well, your starter, that's the norm. You do not let him touch the field in the fourth.
But by the way, he's been playing with a lot of scrubberinis throughout the entire preseason. He's been at risk with the scrubberinis the entire preseason. Okay? And he's outshined. And he's actually performed well with scrubberinis around him. I like that. I've been telling you this throughout the preseason, okay? Remember, he hasn't been in the lineup every time with Tunsil. He hasn't been in the lineup every time with Albert Wilson and Kenny Stills, okay? He's the one that's helped develop Preston Williams. He's the one having success with some of the lesser linemen, some of the lesser receivers, some of the lesser backs. That I like. Do you know why? For 7 freaking years. And I can say the other F word right now because I am not FCC controlled, but I'm not. Okay, because we're going to keep it at least.
What restraint you have.
Yes, but for 7 years, for number 17 is, well, the line isn't good enough. Well, the receivers aren't good enough. Well, the running back isn't good enough. Well, the coach isn't good enough. Well, you changed the offensive coordinator. Well, you did this, you did that. Well, Josh Rosen has not had anything perfect so far in the preseason. And he's played well. He's been under pressure, under duress. He's been rushed. He's been sacked. He's been hit. He's been hurried. And he's performed. Okay? So, I like what this kid is doing. I was a fan 2 years ago when he got drafted, so I'm not backing out now. I love this trade. I think this kid's got a chance to be Miami's franchise quarterback. I really do. Am I telling you he's going to be the next Marino and he's going to be Rodgers or no? But he's got a chance. Okay? A good quarterback that you can win him.
He count on that guy. This guy can win us a game. This guy will help us win a game.
And I love the moxie. I do. He plays with moxie, man. He fights to the end of every single play.
Let me ask you this, because some of the guys, like you mentioned, are borderline starters. Because of it being the fourth game and him being involved, are some of those guys that shouldn't see action actually going to get action because Rosen's in the game, maybe?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, some of them. The ones that need work. The young guards.
Yeah, right. They can't get enough game time.
Hey, by the way, folks, your starting guards have been playing a lot in the more than normal, and you've been putting them at risk. But they need playing time. They need experience. That's what Josh Rosen is doing too. They need experience. They got to get him in there. And more reps for him, the better. The more he's understanding what he has to do, the more times he has to call out the Mike linebacker, the better. The more times he has to call out protections because of the defensive front that he's seeing, the better.
Well, he's only done that since he got to us.
Right.
So that first year, there is no knowledge.
Right. So everything there is actually a good thing. That's why when I tell you that I love what they're doing with him, and I love the way he's played, man, you guys tell me on the text line, how do you feel about Josh Rosen? 786-322-1105. Those of you that are listening now, if you're listening on Twitter, on YouTube, 786-322-1105 if you want to get in on the program. That's the text line. You can reach out to us anytime and tell us what's going on in the world of sports. By the way, I was
going into the game.
Where's my other iPad? Where's my green iPad?
Going into the game. What do you think thinking playing time. Maybe let him do the first, second, and then go through a halftime and the adjustments and come out and take the starting.
No, Ruddick, I think, does the second half.
So you don't want him to have the chance of getting the adjustments for halftime? He doesn't need it?
He doesn't need it.
Okay.
I think what's going to be, because the worst Scrubberini's play in the second half, and that's really bad. Like, those are the guys that are definitely going to be on the street.
Those are the, I was going to just say, 37 guys looking to play for the Barcelona Dragons.
At the beginning of the game tomorrow night, you got a shot at seeing some second stringers and mostly third stringers. But the second half, oh my Lord, you're seeing the guys that are playing in the XFL. Seriously, you're seeing the guys that are playing in the XFL. They're leaving here and they're going to XFL and going for their training camps in a couple months.
Arena League.
Is that around anymore? I don't know.
Dude, don't they? Some of the teams were pretty.
Yeah, I think it folded, didn't it? The Arena League finally folded. I wonder if it did. I don't even know if it folded.
They had a couple of organizations, man, that were actually getting like 50.
Yeah, no, I know. Definitely. There were some places that actually drew. Tampa was doing well. Tampa and Orlando always did well for Arena. We're the ones that never did well. We've never done well with minor league sports. That's why the Marlins don't draw. 786-322-1105. That's 786-322-1105. If you want to get in on the program, what car did Los go check out? Because it's like right there.
He saw you pull up.
Where did he go? Keys. That was hilarious. I gave him the keys and he went walking and it's like, where'd you think my car went? I think he's probably looking for my Acura.
He's looking for the car.
He has priorities. He has to get his food first.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Oh, okay. We were wondering where you went. Oh, smart. No, you got some pizzas.
Well, I may have to have a piece of pizza too.
Yeah, the pizza's actually good. It should be on the other side there. If not, then it's in the back seat or something. On the floor? There you go. What is it? What do you... a little cafe mocha. Nice job by you. There we go. All right, so don't forget, if you want to get in, 786-322-1105. Nice and easy way to remember. Now, you got to give me my keys because, see, I gotta always carry this. You guys know what this is?
In case of emergency.
See what this is?
Keep all alive.
This keeps me alive right here. This keeps me alive. Well, maybe, I don't know. This won't even.
You gotta grab him, hold his mouth open.
This is actually my nitro pills. My nitro is in here. You got to keep them locked in. They can't be exposed to light because then they lose their power.
The potency,
the what?
dissipates.
Yeah, the old guy falling down. Yeah. So if I have a heart attack and you guys are around me, make sure you unscrew this, get a pill, and it goes under my tongue. And you can save my life.
Hey, man.
How about that?
Yes, the Arena Football League is still around.
Really?
The league has had its ups and downs, and the league was down just to 4 franchises in 2018, but it is up to 6 this year.
Wow.
Hey, hooray, hurrah.
Is Orlando or Tampa still in it? They drew really well.
The teams that were added were Columbus and Atlantic City, and I'm going to have to go to another spot.
Places that don't have NFL. Okay, that's usually the smart thing to do, is put it in places that don't have the NFL.
Birmingham.
Yeah, Birmingham is always, man, they are Birmingham and Jacksonville, now they have NFL, but Jacksonville was always the team that gets a USFL, whatever, any of those, whatever. I think they had an XFL actually.
Whatever you get, it's the only game in town, so you're going to get all the crowd.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, you're right about that. All right, we're going to get ready for hour number 2 on the program. We're coming to you live from Dandy Donuts in Hollywood, 102 North 28th Avenue. And, of course, join us out here. We'll be out here for another hour, having some fun, talking some sports. In hour number 2, we're going to continue talking Little Dolphins. We'll update you on some of the stuff going on. I want to get into a little Paul Finebaum, too. because Paul had his slip too. And I know Paul, by the way. I've had Paul on my show. I've met Paul several times at the SEC Media Days. And I've got my thoughts on what he did. And it was completely uncool on his part. So, well, hey, Mark, you're getting in front of the camera. Dude, move, brother, move. Anyway, so...
Mark's going to just take us off the air.
Yeah, dude, if you want to come around this side. But anyway, so anyway, we're going to get into a little bit of the Paul Finebaum stuff, because I got to get into this Paul Finebaum stuff and give you my 2 cents on first his comment and then his apology. I also want to talk a little bit about Carly Lloyd. You know, she's the soccer player possibly playing in the NFL. I've got that also to talk about. We got a bunch of things to talk about when we wrap it up, when we come back for hour number 2 of the Big O Show, coming to you live from Dandy Donuts in Hollywood.
This morning, I didn't see it Saturday, but which is off the field, but the Florida band director was attacked out in the parking lot going to the bus. Right. I wondered if you heard anything about that.
I haven't heard much, but I did hear about it, and I don't want to incite the crowd here, but when it comes to Miami program, if you ask me.
Well, at least no one was shot, I guess.
Yesterday we had quite a bit of conversation about the University of Miami, and in a conversation with a caller, I said some incredibly unfortunate things. This is where sometimes talk show hosts try to equivocate, they try to explain, they try to clarify. I'm not going to do that today, because once you say something, it's done. You can't take it back. I should know it's a very long time. And what I said here yesterday was very hurtful to a number of people. For that, I sincerely apologize to all Miami fans and to the University of Miami. I wish I could take it back, but I can't. All I can do is apologize and work very hard to avoid similar mistakes in the future.
Am I coming back? When I'm coming back? Where am I coming back? I'm walking across the street and like, walking because you're coming back. It's crazy. I understand. I feel that love. But I want to be clear to my fans. I needed to recover. I was not in a good place. Football was bringing me down. And I was losing that joy in life. Like, the joy. I'm sorry right now, but, I really was. Get to another level with my, I'm just in the first stage right now. And when that time comes down in the future, if I have the desire to play football again, if I feel passionate about football again, if I'm feeling like I need to be out there on the field, I will go back to football. But as of right now, that is not the case. It could be the case in 6 months. It could be the case in 2 years. It could be the case in 3 months. But I truly don't see it in the foreseeable future in like a week or a month.
Plenty to digest there to start off hour number 2 of the podcast, coming to you live from Dandy Donuts in Hollywood. We'll be out here for at least another 45 minutes to an hour, so come on by. Actually, we'll be out here at least an hour and a half because we got a lot of equipment, bro. We got to tear down, so we'll from Gronk, obviously coming off the whole Andrew Luck retirement. Then we've also got the Carly Lloyd stuff that I want to get into. And then you heard there Paul Finebaum calling Miami, the program, a third world program. And look, I got to tell you something, that this part of it is, it's just disgusting. It just is. And look, I know Paul. And I got to tell you something. This is what you call a slip of honesty. And it's because when things like this happen, when you see somebody get enraged or mad, and then instead of calling you a jerk or whatever, they call you something that has to do with your sexuality, something like that, their bias comes out. And then all of a sudden you start seeing who they really are, okay? Because all of a sudden, they're not looking at me as Orlando, they're not looking at me as a jerk, no, they're looking at me as a spick. Get it? So when you say something like that, then all of a sudden, because of the rage, because of the alcohol, whatever it is that all of a sudden gets you off kilter, it brings you to honesty. And most of us, alcohol is true serum, right?
That's what they say.
So, most people, it's like, hey, you get somebody drunk and they start telling you exactly how they feel about you. Right? And sometimes it gets really scary when they do that. And for me, the Paul Finebaum situation was all about that. That was a guy that this is what he thinks of Miami. That's what he thinks of when he thinks Miami. Do you know why? Why did he call it third world? Because of all the immigrants that we have here. That was the slip he had in his mind. That's what happened. Don't kid yourself. And Paul Finebaum, sir, you're not kidding me, dude. And the next time I see you in person, I will make sure I will let you know about it. Okay? Because as a Hispanic, as a son of immigrants, I take it personal. Because that's an insult to everybody and period, the town. That's the way he looks at it. And that apology, come on. Enjoy them donuts. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you. Enjoy those donuts. You got it. Clowney? If they don't have to pay much, they'll get Clowney. Okay? Right. Yeah, Stills, and that's what I was saying. I was saying Stills and Stills, Kenyon Drake, and a third or fourth rounder. That's it.
And Kenyon Drake?
Yeah, they need a back. Well, they're not signing Kenyon Drake at the end of the year, so that's why. They need a back more than they need Stills.
You don't know if you have Clowney for 2 years.
Right, that's why I think it's a rent-a player. I don't even think they're going to keep him long-term. So there you go. Thank you for supporting us. Appreciate that. And supporting our sponsors. Thank you very much. And again, all of you out there, what you guys have done. Hey, hold on. Hey, do me a favor. Go in my car. Give him one of the Miami Dolphin bricks. Okay? Give him a Miami Dolphin brick. It's right on my passenger seat. They're a little present for you for coming by, man. I appreciate that. There you go. Huh? There you go. And the Instagram. There you go. That Instagram is going to get very interesting coming up. You'll see. It's going to get really cool. So there you go. Yeah, because we often 2x4s that are engraved. that thing, and it'll be actually really, really nice. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you. Thank you.
And it works.
Yeah, there you go. It's a beautiful thing. Love it. Anyway, so see all the craziness that's going on in the podcast? Gotta love it. So thank you. I mean, I just can't say enough of the support and everybody stepping up in a big time way out here, man. Thank you so much, man. It really is.
My dolphinness is gonna say, it just,
Yeah.
is amazing.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. It is. You're right about that. But it's such a cool little thing.
The
man.
killer whale, yeah.
You varnish that and put it on your table. That thing looks awesome. You put a helmet or something on it or whatever. I think it's super cool, man. There you go. Yeah. Well, now you'll ruin it if you put a picture of me. That's for sure.
I'm glad you said it and I didn't have to.
Well, hey, listen, hey, man. I'm brutally honest even about myself, bro. That's just the way it goes. So, for me, the whole thing with Paul Finebaum is just him exposing who he is and what he feels about immigrants. And, you know, I hate to get political because of the climate that we have going on, but it just kind of seems like there's a green light on, all right, well, you know, if you don't look a certain way in this country, we can pick on you. And, you know, Paul Finebaum just kind of stepped into it and kind of felt the confidence of doing that. And then when he gives that half-ass apology, that apology is Lebitard calling you out, the company telling you you cannot say that about any program, and you're saying it about Miami, in South Florida, where we have more immigrants than probably anywhere else except for California. You know, you cannot be saying something like that, Paul. And so Paul then an apology. Does he still have his job? I'm just wondering here. Is that slip is not just a slip, man. That has its racial tones to it. I mean, that's the way I see it. It's got racial tones to it. It's the only way I look at it. You tell me. 786-322-1105 is the text number. 786-322-1105. You tell me what you think of Mr. Finebaum and his comment and then his apology. And if you agree, you can also send it in on Twitter at Big O Show, as always, because that's always a way to, you know, connect with us here on the program. So for me, the Finebaum situation was just, it was despicable. It's not. It's a racist slip. In a way. I mean, if you say Dubuque is in Montana, right? Am I right? If you say Dubuque, Montana is a third world country, okay, it doesn't really hurt that much. You're just kind of calling it a little backward ass a little bit. But when you say Miami, third world program, and it's Miami, dude. I mean, it's not acceptable to say that the University of Montana is a third world country either. Don't get me wrong here. But when you say it compared to Miami, it's just going to carry it's going to carry way more weight when you do it that way. So the Finebaum mess, to me, I got to say, is not enough. What they've done is he's not suspended. He's not fired. He should be at least suspended. Maybe not fired, because give him the break for the slip. Fine, whatever. If you want to do that, I can live with that. But he should pay some kind of a price, because it's a disgusting comment.
You don't think it goes a little bit deeper than that, man?
Well, racist, I said.
Well, I'm talking about the UN. Look, face it. Back in the day, Notre Dame would come down
he's
here.
an SEC guy?
Well, the Notre Dame used to come down here and schedule us because it was a layup, and they were able to get the kids out of the snow and stuff down there and come to South Florida. Plus, it would also help with recruiting, okay? And then we became a team, and we started beating them, and it wasn't just a vacation out of the snow for the kids. From that, okay, the SEC, all the teams used to come in here and take. When Miami got good, we started keeping our own, and yeah, we're down in the South, and that, like, you're trying to come and infringe on our stuff. You know, they look at us as a wannabe, that upper echelon, like them, Ohio State, Notre Dame. You know, we crashed their party, so to speak. We're not part of the fraternity.
Yeah, but there's no threat at this moment. They've been irrelevant for 20 years.
But I'm talking about it going back that long, that they don't like us. They don't like the fact that we crashed.
I don't know, 2003 was a decent season.
They're the blue, but you know what I'm saying. They were the blue bloods.
No, I get it.
And we crashed it and took it over.
I get it, but
and
it's
there's still
so
that
long from now.
Yeah, but you don't think there's still that hate?
No, I don't.
It sure sounded it to me.
I think there's hate, but not because you think it's a threat or anything. There's nothing anymore. Miami's nothing. Miami's been nothing forever.
Yeah, but dude, when we get it righted and we get going, the kids are in our backyard that most of them come down here and grab from. You know what I mean? If we're good, a lot of those schools that take from us are able to pick, you know, those kids over. If we're good, they're not going to be going up north.
Well, I get that.
To their campus.
I get that, but at this point,
so they kind of want us to stay down.
It's not. Yeah, it's not just anything that's big at this point. It's just not important. You know, they're not. Miami's not important yet. Again, they haven't gotten to that point, and so they're not a threat to anybody right now. You know, and so Finebaum doesn't have to feel
I'm
that.
not saying right now.
To me, it's more racist than anything else. It's racist.
There is that, but
when you say third world,
yes,
that has nothing to do with football. That has nothing to do with a program. That has nothing to do with ranking. Jimmy Johnson and Randall Hill, and it has nothing to do with that. When you say third world, you meant something else, is what you meant. That's the problem. That's where the rubber meets the road, as they say. That's where it ends. That's where all of a sudden you got out of the football comment, and now you're getting into a social comment. Now you're getting into a completely different Paul Finebaum when you're doing something like this, because you included the word third world, or two words, third world. By doing that, forget it, man. You have just created a monster problem for yourself, and you have pretty honestly told everybody where you stand on certain things.
What about the non-apology apology?
Yeah, no.
Does that make sense?
No, it doesn't. It's not an apology. It's a half-ass apology. It's one because he was called out by people in his own place, and ESPN told him, you got to go apologize. And so and then he went and apologized.
There's no doubt. If he wouldn't have gotten backlash, he lets it live, and it sits there.
Right.
He just got a bunch of crap for it, and because of that, now he's got to step up and try to do the politically correct thing.
Right. Anyway, so we got all that going on with Paul Finebaum, and again, I'd love to get your opinions on it at 786-322-1105 is the text line. If you want to get in and you want to come by, we're out here at Dandy Donuts. We already had several listeners come by and say hi, which is really cool. And obviously they're purchasing some delicious donuts, and even getting some prizes too.
The eyes, very tough, bro.
Yeah. You know what I need? I need to get a glaze and save them for me already. Make sure they're not out by the time we're done. You know what I mean?
Oh, dude, I didn't even think about that. Yeah. Excuse me, I'll be back in a moment.
Yeah. So tell her to set me aside one glaze. Because I definitely got to have my fix, dude.
This thing is stuck recording. I'll be right back.
Yeah, if what's it called? I don't get my glaze, good mood. I got to have my glaze. I got to have at least one glazed donut. All right, 786-322-1105 if you want to get in on the program. The other thing that we with all of this is that physically I worry about Carly Lloyd, and I don't think it's right. Okay? Listen, women's rights, you want equal rights, God bless you, go for it. You want to play football like the men, and you think you can, and if you qualify for it, then go ahead. But when a player takes a cheap shot, tell me anything, when she ends up on the bottom of a pile because she tried to make a tackle, and guys are sticking fingers in places she didn't want them sticking fingers, I'm sorry, but it's the truth. Don't come crying to me. Football players, not all of them, but there's already a certain group of football players that are already abusing women as it is. You're going to put one on the field? And with some of these crazy maniacs?
No, okay. Yeah, I am under there. All right.
Yeah, you are.
This conversation I have with certain people who don't know anything about football, or at the very least Euros, who tend to think that like rugby is just like this more masculine sport than football is.
Right.
And so I have to kind of explain. Now, you can't just straight bowl into somebody. Those guys out there are human missiles,
right.
And nobody
big, ginormous, incredibly fast.
If you're fast enough, quick enough, and you position yourself correctly in a rugby match, you might not ever get touched at all. Right. In a football game, everyone gets lit. Everybody's zeroing in on the kicker, not because she's a female, just because he's a kicker.
Right.
Like the kicker always, because I just want to lay the kicker out.
Right.
And sure enough, she's going to be that person. We had this conversation when we were talking about who was the Ohio State running back who wanted to come out as a freshman. Claret wanted to come into the NFL.
They put on boxing gloves as the son got smart with the dad, and he goes, all right, fool, you want to get smart with me? So they put on the boxing gloves, and the kid's like all cocky, and then the dad just clocks him one time. Yeah. He just moves it on him and clocks him right in the head. Kid falls back flat on his back on the street, and he goes, that's grown man strength against young man, which is, you can't do that, bro.
If you want to make her a place kicker for like extra points and field goals, okay. Because at the very least, those are plays that'll become dead the second that they go off her foot, and she can just run off and not get hit. If she's going to go out there and take a kickoff, she is done.
Right.
There are dudes who actually did play. They took that rugby star, that guy who was a rugby star, and they put him as a punt returner. I think it was the 49ers.
The Bills.
Yeah. No, was it the Bills with the 49ers?
No, the Aussie guys, the Rams.
Was it right? The Rams. He got there, he got lit, and he fully understood what that sport was now. It's the same thing. It's not being sexist that you don't want a woman to go out there and get folded in half.
I don't want it, but you know what? Go do it. Go ahead and do it.
You know what they'd have to do? They'd have to have somebody there to like block, like to protect her. Somebody stay back.
That's not football.
Exactly. But you know what I'm saying? There have to be somebody to protect.
But
But there is no way to do that. Not on a kickoff.
No, you can't do it.
Bodies are flying everywhere. There's
can't.
no way that you're going to be able to keep anybody out.
That's one less man covering the ball. That's
No, that's not.
and all right?
Every quarterback.
I mean, Avantes Bursit. Okay, that guy doesn't respect. That's what they are on the field. And to be a heat-seeking missile. More power to you. Go for it. Okay? You think you can do it? Go ahead. I don't want to do it. Okay? I don't want to do it. I don't want to be out there on an NFL field. I've covered the NFL for a long time. I've been on the sidelines. I've watched those collisions up close. Look like. I think sometimes you lose feel how big, how strong, and how hard these guys hit. He would crush my rib cage. Okay? You got me? Laramie Tunsil goes like this to me. Boom. On my chest. He would cave in my chest. He would probably give me a heart attack when it's all said and done.
I was just going to say, considering the stents, you didn't hear that.
Yeah, he would
Let him
stop
hit you
my
in
heart.
Let him hit you in the head.
Yeah, he would stop my heart. He would. Heart. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that he would damage me beyond my, I don't know, capabilities of even being able to walk for the next 2 weeks. That's how bad it would be. Huh? Gronk? Oh yeah, no. Yeah, and we played that sound. And Gronk, can you pull up the Gronk bite again? Because the Gronk bite listen, over the last week, you got it? You ready? Tell me when you're ready. To fire it off. Fire off Gronk there talking about why he retired from football. And let me tell you something. When guys like I mean, that's a big quarterback. That's a big tight end. I've watched Gronk get defensive ends and throw them to the ground. You got it? Fire it.
Yes, I'm on the right path to where I am now. And I got a lot farther to go. And I feel great, and I am pain-free. But I truly believe I can get to another level with my body, and I'm just in the first stage right now. And when that time comes down in the future, if I have the desire football again, if I feel passionate about football again, if I'm feeling like I need to be out there on the field, I will go back to football. Now is not the case. 6 months, it could be the case in 2 years. It could be the case in 3 years. It could be the case in 3 months. But I truly don't see it in the foreseeable future in like a week or a month.
Again, and then he explained, and I don't think he really is going to play football again. Andrew Luck will never play football again. That one I'm convinced of. He's got a lot of things. Gronk obviously is a little meathead, so maybe a year or two from now he's recovered and he feels better and he gives it a go or something. football. Anyway, the passion that you heard in it, I mean, he was crying. Because emotionally, it was those guys down. What's he going to do to Carly Lloyd? Look, I get it. Women are tougher than men for many things in life. Okay? They are some of the toughest beings in the universe. For many things, women are tougher than men. I'll admit that. The physicality that it takes, that's not for women. It's not. It's not for most men. The game of football is not made for the human body, period. Not male or female. It's made for people that are freaks. Because you have to be a freak to be able to play the game at that level. You have to be a freak to be able to have the body to play that game at that level. And you have to be a freak to be as durable as they are to hang in there and take that punishment. Most of us don't have the talent. Most of us don't have the physicality for it. And most of us don't have the durability for it. Because it takes a special person. It's impossible to find almost. You're going to have to find an Amazon-like woman. It has to be a woman that is muscular like you've never seen before and athletic like you've never seen before. She's got to kind of be built like I don't know surviving. But Carly Lloyd on a kickoff, I am terrified. Those guys are maniacs running downfield. I don't want to hear any of the political crap. I don't want to hear that she's getting abused or anything like that. You signed Shayna. They bought their tickets. They knew what they were getting into. I say, let them crash.
One of my favorite, by the way, greatest hits, and it's this guy who took all these hits and he put it to the song "Here Comes the Broom," and most wickedest hits in college, in pro, in high school. He even has like a Pop Warner one that's in there. Like every single terrible hit, and to look at their faces as they're watching this because they have no concept of football whatsoever, and suddenly they're like, "No, man, no, not me, no." Like right. Like imagine that. Like
all you got to do is go on the field one time. 100,000 play an entire game. No, I'm not doing it, bro.
Rob Gronkowski's what, 6'6"?
Yeah.
He weighs about what, like
260 probably?
260, chiseled out of stone.
Yeah.
Rob doesn't run down the middle anymore.
No.
Rob goes to the sidelines.
Yeah,
because he doesn't want to get lit out.
Did you hear him when he was talking about that hit in the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
That he got a hit in that thigh, and he had the pain for weeks. And he was like, he was sleeping 20 minutes a night, and he was crying and in pain the night after he won the Super Bowl. He's like, I'm lying in bed here crying, and I just won the Super Bowl. How does that make any sense?
You're in a sport where, to a man, none of them feel normal until, like, Wednesday.
Right.
Like, after a Sunday,
I don't even think they feel...
They don't... I mean,
it's like somewhat acceptable.
Right. Like at least, like, they could, like, wash in. So that maybe on that Thursday, they can start to actually go out there and like do some workouts. But for the most part, yeah, they don't feel. There's no such thing as 100%. Like no player is at 100%. Every single guy there is like at least 75% and down. But before the season begins, none of these guys are 100%.
No, yeah, because they've already gone through training camp.
Right, you've gone through training camp. You've already gone through preseason. By the time you get to there, your body's already playing.
You're somewhat sore.
You lose about 5% of the league before the season begins.
Yeah.
Before the season begins, already 5% of those guys are already gone.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. You're right. If you want to get in, by the way, it's 786-322-1105. That's 786-322-1105 if you want to get in on the program. We'll be here for probably about another half hour as we are hanging out at Dandy Donuts in Hollywood, 28th Avenue, right off of I-95 and Hollywood Boulevard, just a couple of blocks east. We're right next to the Miami Subs, so come on by. Still got a couple of those bricks for the Miami Dolphins, so if you come by and say hi, while they last, we'll give you that. And I appreciate all the folks that have shown up here. There is nothing new to report on the Jadeveon Clowney situation. I'm looking it up now, and I don't see anything new breaking for Jadeveon Clowney not being moved to Miami or not being moved anywhere else at this point in time. Some reports says Cowboys have a habit of circumventing agents. I wonder what that story is on Pro Football Talk. Interesting. Jerry Jones, we want Zeke fresh for the playoffs. Well, that's probably why they drafted Tony Pollard, so they can have a 1-2 punch and they can take a little heat off of them. Which again, I got to tell you, the Cowboys have done a phenomenal job of drafting, dude. Really, we got the Gronk. Let's hear Gronk. You want to hear Gronk and hurting? This is Gronk hurting. Big time. Nope. Nothing there? Nope. What do we got going on? We're having all kinds of things here on the program. Anyway, so listen, the Gronk sound was that's one that tells you why. What's it called? It tells you
I needed to recover. I was not in a good place. Football was bringing me down, and I didn't like it. And I was losing that joy in life, like the joy. I'm sorry right now, but I really was, and I was fighting through it. And I knew what I signed up for, and I knew what I was fighting through. And I knew I just had to fix myself.
There you go. The joy. You can't lose the joy. You don't want to lose the joy in anything. Not in life, not in anything. You need to have the joy. It's important to have the joy. Do you guys have the joy? No? At Dandy Donuts, how do you not have the joy? You had some pizzas. Have you had a donut yet? You need a donut? No? Just a pizza? Man, I don't know how you do that. That's strong on your part.
It's called regimen, baby. Willpower.
Yeah.
You gotta get some. I actually don't eat food during the day. I eat a meal actually during the day. During the regular time of day, I'm eating Life cereal. Like the actual, box Life cereal.
Mikey?
Yeah, Life cereal.
Mikey, he'll eat anything.
In the morning, I had like 2 oranges and a little bit of Life cereal. And then I've just got a big ass bag of Life cereal, and then it fills me, and then I just end up burning it off later because that's about like 140 calories for the box.
Wow, nice job by you. Nice discipline.
I don't go crazy snacking on anything that's put in front of me unless it's like chocolate, something like that. But I can say no at any point in time. Like it's never like to the point where like I can't not eat something. If I'm not in food, and eat it anyway.
Okay. All right, I got you there. All right.
And in this place, don't get me wrong. In this place, that is pretty hard because it's not just This isn't a donut shop. This is an old school diner. Right. This is what diners were back in the day. Like when you try to
Quality diners, by the way. Quality diners.
This is what like an old school diner would be. It's like a
Frank and Laura, just everything is top notch. Everything they cook here, quality, all their products.
It's like a bevy of different foods that you can all get, because you can get a burger, you can get fries, you can get a pizza, you can get donuts, you can get a hot dog. I think they have like a burrito back there. You can get like, whatever somebody thinks of making, it's just on the menu the next day.
Right.
So that's essentially what a diner back in the day used to be like. And this is one of those last places that are like that, where you can come in here and today I'm going to have pancakes. Tomorrow I'm going to have a breakfast burrito. The next day I'm going to have a patty melt. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's the menu is constantly evolving. Right. If it's not on the actual physical menu, then they have that little chalkboard right there, and they're just writing it in. Yeah, today I feel like cooking this, and that's what's going to be on today. That's the special of the day.
I love it. All right, so listen, you heard Gronk's voice there. And if it's going to break down a guy like Gronk, and it's going to break down a guy like Andrew Luck, I just fear Carly Lloyd. I just do. And look, again, I'm not against it. Go ahead, go for it, because I don't want to be the sexist guy. I don't want to be the chauvinistic guy. I don't want to be the guy, oh, you can't do it. No, you can do it. Go ahead. I'm just telling you the kind of risks, it's not worth it. It's just not worth it. There's nothing about it that is worth it for Carly Lloyd to do this at all. She's got nothing to prove. She's a world-class champion. She's one of the great soccer players of all time in her field, dude. She's got nothing to prove.
I never want to hear anybody saying they're making an example of her, because they make an example of anybody. The second that the starting quarterback goes down, that's the blitz right then and there. He's going to get tagged. They're going to put pressure on that guy. If you are a weak link that they can expose, everybody and their mother is going to get up on you, and you're just going to get lit. That's it. It's not, there's no sexist anything. It's like, oh, well, they're hitting her a little bit harder than they hit. No, there's no such thing as harder than anybody. Everybody goes right through you like a truck. It doesn't matter who.
No, they want to hit.
Like if there's a coach
they want to hit you.
Right. If the coach happens to be in the way, coach is getting lit. If the official happens to be standing there, that official gets hit.
Did you see what Landon Collins said? Your boy?
What?
He said that if they play the Giants, he wants Glenn to be, closer to the sidelines. They interviewed him and he said that. He was like, yeah, no, I wouldn't mind if he's a little close to the sidelines.
I missed the one guy.
What team did he leave you guys for? Where did he go? Is he in Philly?
No. Yes.
Landon Collins went. Did Landon Collins go?
No.
Or Washington. I knew you went in the division. Washington. Yeah. So So it was like, oh, so what happens when you play the Giants? He goes, well, if Gettleman's on the sidelines, I'll make sure that when the play goes to the sidelines, hopefully.
Official, fan, whatever. Camera guy.
Yes. Doesn't matter, bro. They're going to truck you. They want to hit you. Hey, I hate to put it this way, but NFL players are hitting women anyway. Off the field. Now you're going to put some of those animals that hit women, now they're on the field with one? No, it's not a good idea. It's not.
We've seen a couple times those older gang, and the chain guy gets and he's like, oh yeah, dude, it's really anybody under 40 or 50, dude, you do not need to be on the sideline.
How many referees have we watched get injured? How many times have you seen a game end with one less referee, that they had to call the guy from the booth to come down because they have to another guy replaced, but there's always a spare up there, and they bring him down. How many times? A ton. There's a bunch of times. Camera guys, not like you said, the marker guy. Everybody that's on a sideline is at risk, bro.
Waterboy.
Yeah, waterboy. Exactly. We've seen the waterboy get killed. I don't want to see Carly Lloyd get killed, but okay. If you think that you deserve equal rights and you deserve to be on the field, then go for it, man. But in my eyes, Carly Lloyd doesn't have to prove anything to anyone at all. and her kicking field goals it's not impressive. I'm not impressed. She's a kicker anyway. She's a soccer player. It's something that's in her DNA. But if she could actually last in a game of football, then I'll be impressed. I'm impressed with her on a soccer field.
Just one game, not a whole season. Just one game, right? Get through 60 minutes. Is that what you're talking about?
No. She might get lucky in 60 minutes. That's the thing. Kicks it out of bounds every single time. She got lucky. Kicked it through the end zone. She got lucky. I want to know when she, has to muff one, has to onset, to do something that the other team is coming at you, baby. I want to see the moment where she's the last in line, as Dio would say, and she's got to make the tackle. I want to see that, okay? Because you know what's going to happen? Allen Iverson walking over, what's the name of the coach? The coach from the Cavs and the Lakers and all that stuff. Damn it, whatever. You know who I'm talking about. Okay? That's what's going to happen. They're going to step right... Tyronn Lue, exactly. They're going to step right over her, stomp her. I don't want to see that. But... if that's what she wants to do, equal rights, more power to you, go for it.
Hey, we have seen some kickers try to make a tackle. Some of them look pretty funny, bro.
Rosen at UCLA.
Well, that was Arrow trying to throw a pass, not make a tackle.
One guy says, Rosen at UCLA, I wasn't a fan, thought he was too lanky, but like you said, love his moxie. I think he will succeed in Miami. Been listening to you for decades, love the show. I grew up there in 70s, 80s, and 90s. A little heads up, microphone gain is high, it's pinning a little. Bill in Simi Valley. Thank you, Bill. Listening in Simi Valley, or watching. He's probably watching. Thank you, Bill. Appreciate that. Listening for a long time. Make me feel old.
You got people everywhere, man. You got people everywhere.
No, the best is when I run into somebody, right? Hey, Hill, I've been listening to you for a long time, and then his son tells me he's been listening to me for another 10 years. And the kid's like, 20. And it's like, okay,
You had that experience at the Maiden concert.
Yeah, it's happened to me several times. Several times now. It's happened to me over the last, 10 years, because I guess when you're in your third decade of the business, it kind of, it gets to the point where, people...
Yes, you're transcending generations.
Yes, exactly. And so it kind of gets crazy. So yes, I'm old in a big time way, but what can I tell you? I mean, what are you going to do?
Shh, about the old man. Enough.
That's all right. I stay young with sports and music. Tomorrow I got the B-52s, Berlin, OMD at the Broward Center. Then on Friday, I'm going to go see George Clinton and Parliament Funkadelic. They're going to be over at Revolution Live, but it's kind of a bittersweet thing because Beck and Cage the Elephant are at Coral Sky the same night. So I'm missing them. I really want to see that. I love Beck. I love Cage the Elephant, man. I'm a huge fan of those guys. But this is George Clinton's final tour, so I gotta go see George Clinton. Yeah, it's over. He's done. Well, yeah, as many as they're around, yeah. Yeah, as many of the original guys that are left, they're with him, yes. I don't know how many of them are left. No, I don't think so either. 13 of them made it into a Hall of Fame. 13. Yeah, he's had more than that, but 13. The Cure got 10 in this last year. And Robert Smith had to negotiate that. He wanted to get I think it's 13 or 14 that he's had total, and they did not allow it. They allowed only 10. So it was just like, I guess it all depends on how many albums you were part of or whatever, hits or what. I don't know I don't know that stuff out. But still, it's,
You can't say that because Jimmy Page is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as a Yardbird. And I don't think he's on any record whatsoever. I think he's on a live album, and that's about it. He came into the band at the end. He wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't.
No, wasn't he? I think wasn't he on the last album? Are you sure?
I don't think he's on that last album at all. No, because he came in on a tour.
What did they have?
He came in on the tour. He was bassist for them, and then he moved over to guitar. and he's playing with him on guitar, and then eventually when they fired Jeff, he ends up taking over and being the guy. But that was all in the middle of a tour. All that was ongoing. So I think he's on like 5 live Yardbirds, and he's on the live album. I don't think he's on a record, like he went into the studio with them.
He was in the last one.
I'm not, yeah, and even then, there's one.
Right.
And he's in there as a Yardbird, but he's in there because he's Jimmy Page.
He's Jimmy Page.
That's why he's in there.
But you're also inducting the Yardbird, so you just throw him in there because he is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
So
right, exactly.
You're not really sneaking somebody in that doesn't have the credentials. You know what I'm saying? You're sneaking somebody in that
the criteria isn't a criteria for them, and that's the bogosity that I can't stand about.
But that's
because Black Sabbath has got a bunch of dudes.
Yeah, but that's
all played on record.
Yeah, but you're not putting Gilliam in because he was just on one album. You're not going to put him because
Jimmy Page is on just one album.
Which, by the way, Born Again is but Ian Gilliam is not a Hall of Famer. With Deep Purple.
Yeah, no, he's a Hall of Famer.
Wait a minute, did they put him in with Deep Purple?
Yeah.
Okay, because they had no, they didn't put in Richie Blackmore.
What?
Richie Blackmore is not in the Hall of Fame with Deep Purple.
No, but I think that's because Richie Blackmore chose not to be put into the Hall of Fame with Deep Purple.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, I think he was like making a big stink. He didn't want to go.
That's retarded.
I mean, without Richie Blackmore, there is no Deep Purple.
No, literally, like I think he made the band.
No, he created it. Yes. No, I know.
Like Coverdale's in there. Coverdale's in there for only one record.
Right at the back end.
Yeah, and Coverdale's in there. So see what I'm saying? Right. But it's not because it's the one record. It's because he's David Coverdale, and that's why he's in. That's why I can't stand. Fine. If you wanted to sit there and say for the guys of Kiss that you didn't want to put in Kulick or the blonde dude, fine. Eric Carr is there for more than half. Eric Carr's on more records.
In the 80s, yeah.
Eric Carr's on more records than Peter Criss is.
Right.
And he's not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Get out of here.
Yeah,
like, if you don't want to put Mark St. John, fine.
Right.
But
or Vinnie Vincent.
Even though Vinnie Vincent's on 2 records.
Right, but he's not a Hall of Famer. That's the thing. That's the caveat you're leaving out. Jimmy Page is. I get it. Band. But that's why he slips in and the other ones don't, because he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, it's us because they just want to put a name on.
Then it's not an accomplishment. It is a name.
Right.
It's a name.
And it's not an accomplishment.
It's a god.
You know what I'm saying? It's not an accomplishment to get in.
With that.
Right. Yeah. But still, it's like, you put another Hall of Famer in that band, and that's the thing.
That Richie Blackmore,
That Richie Blackmore, dude, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
And that just shows you how stupid the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame are. They got their head in their ass.
Glover's the bassist, right? Glover was, furious. Like, he went off on everything about it. Like,
I'd almost be like, no, we're not going in.
How's he not invited? How's he not inducted? All that stuff. And let me tell you, even if Richie didn't want to be in,
right,
you induct his ass anyway.
Yeah.
Okay? If he doesn't want to be there for the Celebrate No One, I don't care. You put him in there.
It's not an impartial committee that chooses this. It's a bunch of guys, and those bunch of guys have beefs. And certain guys it's why some of those mega metal bands are not in, because they just don't like it. But at some point in time, they're going to have to acknowledge it regardless or not. But like Megadeth is not in the Hall of Fame. Slayer's not in the Hall of Fame. Iron Maiden's not in. Judas Priest isn't in the Hall of Fame. Yeah. Like, seriously.
Scorpions aren't either.
Scorpions aren't in the Hall of Fame. None of those. UFO. None of those bands. None of those bands are.
UFO will never make it.
No.
And they deserve to be in by miles. By miles. They have so many great songs, and they have influenced so many bands.
If King Crimson is not in, UFO is not getting anywhere.
Right, no, UFO's never going to get in. Never going to get out. Yet,
and it's asinine.
Yet, tons of rock bands will tell you UFO is one of their favorite and one of their most influential acts.
They are scouring for all these acts that were granted influential back in the 60s, but they were scouring to find another guy, another person, to cover up for the fact that they don't have those like later guys, because now they're getting into the years where you're going to have to acknowledge them at a certain point.
Right.
Like, you've gotten into the years now where like you're going through the span of the 80s now, and now you're going through the 90s. You're going to have to acknowledge these guys regardless of whether you want to or not. And so if something is big enough and significant enough that they've made that mark, you can't tell me that the Dave Clark Five, as influential as they were back in the 60s, and as much hits as they had back in the 60s, are bigger than Kiss. Because I can walk out there right now, walk into that IHOP, talk to some complete stranger who knows nothing about music. I'm guaranteeing he knows at least one Kiss song. He can't hum a Dave Clark 5 song.
Right.
Can't hum one.
Right.
Wouldn't even know it if he heard it.
Different era too.
Right, but it's not that big of a difference now because about the 60s as opposed to the 70s.
Right.
Like, see what I'm saying? You're like a decade later.
No, but
And one was astronomically huge around the world.
Kiss went into the 80s with hits.
Right.
Not Dave Clark.
But they were that massive of a band. In other words, that massive of a band shouldn't have to wait.
Yeah, no.
At all.
No. That's ridiculous.
Like, Iron Maiden is that massive of a band.
Still.
They literally shot a movie where they showed you exactly how huge they were. Still that massive of a band. The fact that they're not even on the ballot is a joke.
Because Priest doesn't fill the stadiums that Maiden does now.
But still, Priest is one of the most iconic bands of all time.
I'm not saying that they don't belong in there. They're first ballot in my book, but I'm saying that Maiden's staying power is actually more impactful than Scorpions and Judas Priest come. Because those two bands are playing in arenas that are 4,000 and 5,000 seats. Maiden is playing still 15,000, 20,000.
There are more punk bands in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame right now than there are metal bands.
The last time we saw Judas Priest, it was at the Hard Rock, and that was the bastardized Hard Rock of 2,400 people.
Right.
You know what's annoying about the Hall of Fame? Dude, when they don't do things right and they leave out these people, you undermine your validity. You look like a clown and you call yourself the Hall of Fame. Like you're retarded.
I got you. I got you.
Like if you were the bastion of that history, if you were the thing that's going to chronicle what it is, then you have to be fair about it, and you have to chronicle the whole thing.
They're not.
Like I didn't have a problem with. Like I'm not a big Bon Jovi fan, but you have to acknowledge the gigantic hugeness of what that band was. My only problem was they don't get in before Def Leppard. Like if you're going to sit here and talk about hair bands, that band gets in way before the other band gets in there, and it's only because John Bon Jovi is a popular guy.
Right.
And he's a guy that all people
McBeal.
Yeah, everybody likes him, and so does. Yeah, of course Bon Jovi's going to get in. Nobody likes any guy that's in Motley Crue. Motley Crue's not going to get anywhere near the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And it's asinine.
They will eventually. They'll be dead, but they'll be in. It'll be Deep Purple. It'll be something like that they'll get in like way after they were supposed to get in, and then that's it.
I was just going to say that movie Dirt didn't help their case.
No,
that movie Dirt, that's the kind of stuff that people start
Yeah, but then you might as well blackball every rock star because every single last one of them did the same thing, if not worse.
Right. True.
Let me go chronicle the Rolling Stones history for Christ's sake.
Yeah, that would be, and that's an interesting history there too. All right, we take you. We'll be here, I would imagine, for about another 10 minutes. 786-322-1105. If you want to get in on the program, that's 786-322-1105. Recap a little bit what we were talking about earlier with Bon Jovi, with Jadeveon Clowney. Oh, Osweiler in for a visit. Wow, Osweiler's in for a visit. The Jadeveon Clowney situation. Listen, I've told you guys I didn't think that they would give up anything for Jadeveon Clowney and give up big-time contracts. I still think they're not going to do that. And I think that the reason why Miami's in the mix again now, it's only because the price is down. And so now Miami wants to take advantage of the low-hanging fruit, whether it's Josh Rosen, whether it's Nkemdiche, getting released. That's what they're going to do. That's where they're at. That's the stage they're at right now. That they're looking under every rock possible, but they're not going to go over to that and buy the expensive car. Okay, they're not going to make that kind of commitment. So I don't believe that you're going to see them make a trade where they're giving up a first rounder, they're giving up a long-term contract. What Mike Tannenbaum probably would have done for Jadeveon Clowney. Okay, he would have liked that because it's the shiny object and all that stuff. He would have done something like that. That's not what these guys are all about anymore. That's not who they are. And that's why I don't think you're going to see that happen now. Now, if it does happen, it's a player that they can get rid of, a Kenny Stills, Kenyon Drake. It's going to be a middle round pick. something like that. I don't even think it's going to be a second rounder. I don't. Unless they're not giving up any talent and then they just give a straight up second rounder for Jadeveon, which that's a little too much also for me in a way. I don't want them to give up even a second rounder. But I can see them giving up a third, a fourth, or a fifth or something like that along with a player or two. Players that they can give away. If you want to give away Kiko Alonso, go ahead. You want to give away Kenyon Drake, go ahead. You want to give away Kenny Stills, go ahead. They can afford to give away those guys. Those guys aren't necessarily going to bring in anything, any kind of difference for the team this year. They're not going to make a difference at all.
And they're not part of the long-term plan.
No, definitely. So that's why I think in this situation, Miami is doing the right thing. They continue on the right path. Because I think they're looking at it and they're going, okay, well, if this is available, it's available at our price. The price we want to give you. This is what we can afford to give you. It's not going to be, well, no, we want to go out of our way because we need this guy. They know. When they continue to release Akeem Spence and players like that, and they keep getting rid of veterans and they're cutting down salaries, it's because they plan on going young, they plan on going with inexperience, they plan on trying to coach those guys up and get them better from within. They're trying to develop a core for the future, not guys that are now and progress stoppers for young guys. They're not going to do that. If they're stuck with a veteran, it's because they've got no choice. Like the Rashad Jones deal. He's got the bum shoulder. They owe him like $13 million this year. The salary, nobody's going to pay that salary plus a compensation on top of the salary. So you're stuck with Rashad Jones. Oh, and one more thing. Rashad Jones isn't great at covering. He can tell you all he wants. I read the quote the other day where he says, I can play free and I can play strong. No, you can't play free. You're not a free safety. Nobody wants you playing center field. Anybody that's smart doesn't want you playing center field. That's why they released T.J. McDonald. Another veteran that they don't need, a mediocre to average veteran. Why are you going to keep that around? You'd rather go with mediocre, young, and inexperienced. So maybe there's some upside and maybe you can teach something there. But the mediocre to average veteran is going to be what he is, a mediocre to average veteran. It's not going to change. Yeah, a little money, no doubt. You cut the salary. And that's the beauty. They got $41 million in dead money this year. Fan-freaking-tastic. The faster you get rid of this dead money, the more cap space you have down the line. So that way, when Laramie Tunsil, you got to agree to a contract, you got plenty of cap space to re-sign your own, because that's what this is all about, is re-signing your own. So this Jadeveon Clowney move is one that you shouldn't be worried about, because I don't think it's anything that's going to affect this team in a big-time way. I just don't believe it. Even if they acquire Clowney, I don't think he matters more to get to 2. Okay? That's basically the way I look at it. And if they're a 2-win team, then they'll be lucky to get to 3, and so on and so forth. But I don't think this is a team that's going to win more than 1 to 2 games, maybe 3. Wow, it'll be tough.
You know, it'd be stupid. You could be like the 1 or 2 win team and get the 1 or 2 pick, and you end up with 3 or 4 or 5, and you're in the plethora of the group, and we go from 1 or 2 to 5, 6, 7,
yeah,
and you defeat the purpose of that one guy.
Yeah, no way that happens.
But
no way that happens. There's no way that happens.
I'm going to say this, man. With the way we've been hitting on our picks, I really don't feel like giving up any of our picks. Keep them, let's use them. We're starting to hit on them.
Right.
Back in the day, we didn't. So, you know what I mean? You're better off getting, like you said, a veteran that you know what you're getting than taking the crapshoot and you don't know what you get with the rookie. And we were terrible at picking them anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the way we're hitting on them now, they do have a value because we've improved there. Let's keep them.
By the way, we want to thank the listeners that have come by to say hi and purchase some delicious donuts, as always, because, I mean, you can't come by and say hi and not purchase some donuts. So we appreciate the folks that have come by here on the program. We're looking forward to coming out here every month and broadcasting live here at Dandy Donuts and enjoying some delicious donuts. And so we're going to make it a thing now that we'll be out here with all of our sponsors all. As always, and listen, I'm telling you, you got to come on out here to Dandy Donuts. You're going to have a good time here. And remember, Hollywood location only. It's the only location that I can vouch for, okay? Because I know that they do everything with quality here. I know there are other locations, and I don't want to say anything about the other locations, but I know this big-time proud representative of Dandy in Hollywood, because what Frank and Laura have built here is just absolutely exceptional. The croissants, you name it. The food is incredible out here. The lunch, you had the burger today, which...
Yeah, the burger's outrageous. You haven't mentioned the cronut.
Yes, the cronut, yes. So come on out here to Dandy Donuts. Enjoy yourselves. And we're at... right off of Hollywood Boulevard, by the way, okay? So Hollywood Boulevard and I-95, you go, I would say 3 blocks east, no more than that, okay? And you'll find us right there, which is a beautiful thing, 102 North 28th Avenue. That's 102 North 28th Avenue, right next to the Miami Subs. Tell them that Big O sent you, and trust me, they will take care of you. You are going to love Dandy Donuts. All right, I got to thank Bill. I got to thank Carlos. Great job by them. Great work out here. Broadcast. We thank all the folks that came by. Remember, if you're listening to the podcast, you can reach out to us at 786-322-1105. Send us a text anytime, 786-322-1105. And the sound check is coming. We're adding a new show, a music show. So you're going to have a music podcast also that we're going to be adding several times a month, by the way. So we'll be doing that. Again, thank you for the support. Twitter at Big O. Websites coming. We'll have all kinds of things. I'm telling you, we got a lot of things planned for this podcast, and things are going really, really well. Thank you, as always, for the support. We'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're going to be at Choice Mortgage Bank. On Friday, we'll be at Hialeah Park. On Monday, Labor Day, if you're off, come on down south to Showgirls, okay, on Caribbean Boulevard. We're going to be out there on Monday from 1 to 3. And if you can't be there, you definitely want to watch us on Periscope, on Twitter, on YouTube, on Facebook, because on Monday that one's going to be very interesting. You don't know what's going to pop up on the screen. You guys be good out there.